Just home for the night. Just broken camp. Packed up, had breakfast. A little bit of daycare. Now we're off towards the village of Exton, I think it's called. Yep, Exton. From there onto a place called Old Winchester Hill. Then we keep going. Got about 20 miles to do today. We're all packed and ready. This is where we stayed last night, obviously. As always, leave no trace. This is where the tent was. No trace that we were here whatsoever. We'll carry on. We've reached the village of Exton. Another church on the pilgrimage route. Lovely little village set in the hills. We're now heading towards Old Winchester Hill. Everything's still nicely signposted. We've got some more here, look. You can do this, I think you could do this whole route without a map, to be honest. There's so many signposts, it's ridiculous. Every corner there's a signpost. We'll keep going. Well, that marker is actually a memorial. I'll give it a read it, so I'll read it for you. On the night of 4th of April 1944, during rehearsals prior to D-Day and its subsequent airborne assault operations in Europe, a Sterling Mark IV with its towed Horsa glider crashed, killing all 33 soldiers and aircrew on board. The aircraft were approaching from east. It was an extremely dark night with low cloud. It is thought that one of the aircraft struck a tree somewhere to the east of Warnford Park, which is just over there. This led to a catastrophic sequence of events, with the Horsa crashing in Warnford Park, which I think is where that farm is in the middle there. And the Sterling also crashing near Romsey. It looks like the Sterling carried on because it actually crashed 17 miles away. So it must have had some sort of I suspect that's the thing that actually hit the tree, because it must have had some sort of control surface failure. The Horsa LG 999 was crewed by members of the glider pilot regiment and was carrying 3. Sadly, they both went down. 33 people lost their lives. Not a good thing. Obviously insignificant compared to the rest of World War II's deaths, obviously, but not great for the families. Looks like all the members of the people who actually died are all listed there. I suppose they done all the training. I think that's Winchester Hill there, what we're heading towards, the top. Let's get going. Looks like we go down there, turn, and then straight up that top hill there. It looks like it's probably the steepest climb so far. We'll get going. Where we stopped was up there last night. Call it Beacon Hill, but I think there's Beacon Hill, that's just a generic name for a high hill, because there's on the route there's a few beacon hills. Obviously it's just where they light the beacons. But we was up there in that woods right at the top of that mound. We're going to get going. Old Winchester Hill up there. Coming from Winchester, that's the 15-mile marker. I mapped on the map. I actually wrote down all the 5-mile markers all the way along, so I can keep a track of how far I'm going each day. Today we're going to get around to about 30. Need to get to the 30-mile mark. That's the 15-mile mark. So we've got about another 15 miles, but it's very early in the morning. We started off walking at just gone 6 o'clock. It's now only 6:45, so we've come down that hill and up this hill in 45 minutes. I think I'm averaging about 5 miles an hour, so which is where the old walking as a postman comes in, because we're supposed to do 6 miles an hour. But we'll head that way and keep going. How's this for a bit of history? We've reached the top of old Winchester Hill. It says here the earliest settlement here was during the early Bronze Age, about 3,800 years ago. Now that's a bloody long time away. Looks like the biggest settlement was in the Iron Age though. That picture there is what it would have looked like in the Iron Age. Just up there, them lumps of these lumps that you see around the side there. Little bit, houses in the middle there. Must have been pretty exposed in the winter, I have to say. Very rough. Obviously this steep bit here is this here. It's a very steep drop just here. That'd have been in that section there would have been completely impenetrable by raiders. Looks like there's a pond there, which I would use for water. I assume for water. Another one there. These little pen would have been grazing pens. Chicken houses by the looks of it. It says there it was excavated by Victorian archaeologists, but it's remained untouched since. What a bit of history though. 3,800 years ago this settlement started. I mean that's a significant time ago. This is the weather we got for most of the week by the looks of it. Oh, there's a buzzard. It's nice to see the birds of prey back in the land. There was a time when we had hardly any, but the buzzards and the kites are making a significant comeback due to light protection. There's another one over there, looks like a kestrel, maybe. Maybe another buzzard hovering in the wind. This would have been a good place to fly model gliders, to be honest. I know further along they do paragliding, things like that, so we might see some of that on the hills further along. This is coming from the train station, this is the 15-mile mark. Could do another 15 miles today, roughly, to the next spot. A little bit further on than 15 miles, there's a campsite called Manor Farm. I might try there for tonight, rather than going wild. That way I can have a shower and what have you. It's a nice spot. This would be a good spot to come up for today. You have one steep, on the other side of this hill, you have one steep climb that's about 50 metres or so, but other than that it's quite a gentle incline. Go have a quick rest and then we'll get going. We'll go that way. We've reached today's halfway point, which is good because it's only 9:45, so we're doing very well for time. There's a radio tower there, so it does all sorts of stuff. This place is called Butser Hill. It's one of the highest spots on the walk. Unbelievably, it's not going to show on camera. I might zoom in or add a photo, but over there, that's the Sussex coast. I was just speaking to somebody. There's a little white tower in the middle there. It's the Spinnaker Tower, which I believe is at Southampton. Just beyond that is the Isle of Wight. I was looking as I was coming up and thought, that's got to be the Isle of Wight. There's no bays that big in this part of the world. I was thinking, I didn't realise you could see the Isle of Wight from this spot. But there she is. I don't suppose it shows up on camera. This is a nice spot. This is a good place to come for a picnic. You can actually drive all the way up here. There's a little car park. See that little building there? There's a car park there. So if you're on holiday in this way, you can actually come up here, drive up here. Nice spot in the summer. Spend a little while. The cafe is open Thursday to Sunday. Today's Monday, so it's obviously not open. Sadly, the toilet's not open either. There's public toilets there, but they're not open. They're closed as well. It doesn't matter. Taking my boots off, having a proper rest break here. I'm going to make a point of taking proper rest breaks, which I don't always do. I'll come back later. Another valley. On the other side of this butts a hill. That's the A3. We've basically got to traverse, go down the bottom of this hill to the visitor centre, over the road and traverse through that forest basically. We'll keep going. That's where we just come from, Butts a Hill, with that radio blasters. We come down, cross the A3, had a bit of a break stop at the visitor centres. This is the Queen Elizabeth National Park. We're now working our way through the forest. There's an ideal little stop that was, because they got toilet facilities and a cafe. There's a little gift shop there as well, so if you're visiting the area, it's a nice place to visit. You can explore this whole area from that visitor centre. This is Harting Down, the next big hill. Not far off the 30-mile mark. We're looking for not sure about wild camps. There don't seem to be any water points. I have to say that when you do this, I wouldn't do it in the middle of summer, because there's very few water collection points. There's not much in the way of cafes and places to eat. So make sure you bring decent rations. Two of the 3 public toilets I've visited have been closed, even though we are early summer. I suspect they probably only open at the weekends. It's a bit of a pain, because they're marked on the Ordnance Survey maps. They expect them to be open, but they're not. Yeah, it's not. Make sure when you get to the water points, you fill up quite a bit as well, because there's up to 10 miles between water fill points, which is quite some distance if you're gonna do this like when the sun's blaring down. We've got moderate sun. We've got a little bit of wind, so it's keeping it cool. But we'll keep going. Harting Down. I was hoping I was going to see this. I don't know if you're going to hear me because of the wind. There's a slope soaring, flying the glider into the wind off a slope. I'd love to have a go at that, but unfortunately we've got no hills where we are, so we can't do it. For me, I have to use electric ones. You can on a windy day like this, you can literally keep that up all day without any problems whatsoever. It's a perfect form of radio control flight. You can even do mild aerobatics as well. We're over the 30-mile mark, heading towards a place called Manor Farm campsite. It's another couple of hills. This section's a very dry section. There's been nowhere to collect water at all. From here to like more than 10 miles in, there's nothing. Picked up some water and had a drink and something to eat at that the Queen Elizabeth Visitor Centre, but there's been nothing since. There's nobody selling anything, nowhere to collect it, nothing. So it's a very dry area. Quite tempted to eat some grass so I can get some fluid from that. Cows seem to like it. Quite a lot of baby ones in there too. We'll keep going. We'll keep going that way.